everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, so we're going to do another comics haul this week. A lot of interesting things have been happening in the last couple of weeks since I last put up a video. I actually did want to put up a video last week, but I shot a review kind of video about the Swamp Things from the early 2000s with Brian K. Vaughan, and I was going to upload it, and I don't know what I did, but I accidentally deleted it, and it wasn't one of these things where I have like a script or anything like that. I just kind of did it spontaneously. So I don't know. I might reshoot that video, but I got an idea for another video that hopefully within the next 1 or 2 weeks I'll put up. But that one I'll actually have to put some work into. But yeah, who's gonna get canceled this week? So in the last 3 weeks, we've had Gina Carano getting fired by Disney from Mandalorian. Then Disney fired T.I. from the next Ant-Man movie. Then we had the Mr. Potato Head thing, right? Gender neutral, but Mr. Potato Head, but Mr. Potato Head was always gender neutral, and it still is. It still says Mr. Potato Head and Mrs. Potato Head on the box. They actually haven't changed anything except for their lettering on the box. But anyway, the Dr. Seuss thing, and then the Lola Bunny thing. I don't think that one's really caught any traction. But then you've got the Pepe Le Pew thing too. Pepe Le Pew has been cut out from the Space Jam 2, and Lola Bunny has been redesigned, I guess. But okay, I'm not gonna rant about any of those things. It's up to you to feel however you want to feel about that stuff. But some of it makes me roll my eyes, but the outrage about a couple of these things makes me roll my eyes too. I will say this. I do think it's funny that, okay, woke Disney fired Gina Carano, but then they fired T.I., and T.I. is not getting the same sort of support, You could say maybe because T.I.'s situation is a little bit more serious. I guess the ideal is that a couple of women have brought sexual assault charges against T.I. and his wife, so you can say it's a little bit different than being a conservative on Twitter, but still, I think it's interesting. I do think it's interesting, Let's see if Ben Shapiro is going to give T.I. a job, because he's not going to stand for the cancel culture from the woke people in Hollywood, huh? How about that? All right, anyway, we'll do some comics, and we'll show you some of the new ones, then I'll show you some of the older ones I got. So this came out a couple of weeks ago. Black Widow number 5. Oh, golly, the glare. Let's see here. Is that a little bit better? A little bit better. Black Widow number 5. So this is the end of the first arc. Truth and Justice number 1. Now this is an interesting idea. It seems like it's going to be a team-up comic featuring Vixen. So Vixen is a real kind of like B-level, C-level character at DC Comics. She's probably more famous for, I don't know. I mean, they've used her in some of the live-action TV shows. They've used her in like 1 or 2 animated things. As far as having an ongoing comic, she's never been popular, but she's always been used as a supporting character. And like I said, it's really interesting because it's going to be a team-up comic. Usually at Marvel and DC, they'll use the more popular characters, the Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, whatever, team-up comics to kind of boost the B-level characters. Well, it looks like they might be doing the opposite in this case, using the B-level character as a star and probably having a couple of more popular characters to boost, this character's profile. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay. So next thing is Barbellion number 4. So far, it's been really interesting. It's kind of kind of Jeff Lemire's take on of a Martian Manhunter type character. It's set in the 80s, and it really deals with the character's sexuality. The character is gay, and he's plopping down on Earth right at the time when the whole sort of AIDS, ACT UP, queer nation thing was going on. So it's pretty interesting how that sort of thing is kind of interwoven with the character himself dealing with his sexuality and then dealing with the whole kind of science fiction-y things of, you know, living on Earth and having people coming after him and all that kind of nonsense. So it's a pretty interesting comic, pretty interesting so far. America Chavez, #1. Okay, so I decided to give this a try because on one hand I like the character, but I think I read that the artist here is the same guy who did, or one of the guys who did the Mary Jane. Yeah, here we go. Here's some nice art here. Who did the Mary Jane miniseries last year. So if nothing else, we'll have some, it looks like we're going to have some decent art. Like I said, I like the character, but the last series they did with, I can't even remember the name of the writer and the artist, it just really was not my thing. And it actually got a lot of, I think a lot of people were disappointed in it. You know, it just really wasn't a well-written or well-drawn comic. So there's that. American Ronin. I probably had 2 or 3 issues in. Like, there's at least 3 issues in, but I thought I'd give it a shot. I've seen a few people talk about it online, so we'll give it a try. Airboy #1. This came out a few years ago. It was written by James Robinson, I believe. I know it's gotten some okay reviews. I'm not sure. I think it's kind of meta. I think it's the idea of you've got these comic book creators trying to do an Airboy strip at the same time dealing with the whole sort of middle-age midlife crisis thing. So I better not show that. A couple of slovenly dudes sitting around here in their depression. But here's Airboy. But yeah, this looks like it might be pretty interesting. Now, for the older comics, I've got the Kent #12. So I have the whole thing of this. Really interesting series here. Maybe one of these days I'll do a more comprehensive type review. Not anytime soon, but it's really interesting how the comic kind of blends. On one hand, there's it's set in the 19th century. It's a Western, but it's a family drama. It blends the Kent family history, plus there's lots of historical figures woven into the story. Then a lot of the DC Western characters kind of float in and out as well. So really, really ambitious and a pretty interesting comic here. All right, now, on that note, I've got Shaman's Tears #1 by Mike Grell from Image Comics back in the early 80s, or early 90s, sorry. And then I've got #3. Okay. It was a real, well, I think I've read one or two of these before. And it's basically Mike Grell's take on trying to do like a Native American superhero. So I never read the whole series, so it'll be interesting to kind of get into this. And then I've got first trade of Global Frequency by Warren Ellis. Each chapter and each issue is drawn by a different artist. It's kind of a espionage, sci-fi espionage thriller type comic. I know I'm pretty sure they shot like a pilot for a television series. I don't think it was ever aired, or at least it wasn't aired in America, but interesting, fun stuff. All right. Okay, so then that's it. I've got to thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. You guys have a good afternoon.